Let's take a look at a problem from section 3.1. Here we're asked to draw a line with vertical intercept 4 and horizontal intercept 3. And then we want to state whether the slope is positive or negative and then actually calculate the slope of the line. So let's break this problem down into parts. The first part, we're told that this line has a vertical intercept of 4. So what you want to remind yourself is, you want to ask yourself, what is a vertical intercept of a line? So remember that the vertical intercept is the same thing as the y-intercept. And the y-intercept is the point, so we can write it as some ordered pair. It's the point where the line crosses the y-axis. So we've got the y-axis and the x-axis. So this is telling us that the line is going to cross the y-axis at 4. And remember that y-intercepts, the point always has 0 for x. So I can go ahead and plot that point, 0, 4. Okay, the other piece of information that we're given is that the horizontal intercept of this line is at 3. So let's remind ourselves of what that means. A horizontal intercept is the same thing as the x-intercept. And that's where the line is going to cross the x-axis. So it's going to cross it at a point. Also, we can write it as an ordered pair of some x comma y. And where a line crosses the x-intercept, we know that the y is always 0, and then the x is where the line crosses it at. So if it crosses it at x equals 3, that's this point here. So that is the point 3, 0. There is your horizontal intercept. And now we connect the line, or excuse me, if we connect the points with a line, we can see that the line is decreasing. So here my line is decreasing. So this is a decreasing function. And because my function is decreasing, we know that the slope, so the slope is negative. If your line is decreasing, the slope is always negative. And then now we're asked to actually calculate the slope. So how are we going to actually find the slope of that line? So to do that, anytime you're asked to calculate the slope, you should immediately think of the formula. So if you're asked to find the slope, you say, okay, I know that the equation for the slope is some y sub 2 minus y sub 1 divided by some x sub 2 minus x sub 1. So that's the formula for calculating the slope when you have 2 points. So notice that we have 2 points here. We have the point 0, 4 and the point 3, 0. So what you're going to do is you're going to start labeling, if it helps you, and I do this because sometimes it helps me, I'm going to label this x sub 1, and I'm going to label that y sub 1, and I'm going to label this x sub 2 and this y sub 2. Now, it doesn't matter which point you call x sub 1. So if I call the point 3, 0, the red point, x sub 1, then just make sure that that 0 is y sub 1. And if you flip it around, just make sure that the y values correspond with the x value for that point. All right, let's go ahead and calculate the slope. So I'm going to substitute everything in. So my y sub 2 is 4. I'm going to subtract that from my y sub 1. And then my x sub 2 is 0. I'm going to subtract that from my x sub 1. And so we get a slope of positive 4 over negative 3, or you can think of that as negative 4/3. So there is our slope, and that's it.